Hi guys, Fabiana here from Creative Swimwear, and today I'm gonna teach you how to make these tops. So I made a few tops on this machine I just bought. These are two of them. This one looks a bit more like the one on the photo, on the Pinterest photo that I saw. And then I made this little thing in the middle. So I'm gonna be teaching you how to make this. And so to make these tops I used this machine. Here's the name of it. That's the Sentro Machine. And my one has 48 of these needles here. And the reason why I bought 48 needles is because it allows me to make bigger clothes, so like cloth pieces, like I want to make skirts, and I made as well a jumper and a few tops. So I actually bought this machine just to try because I like mixing a lot crochet with like here we have crochet with knitting. I used to make the knitting just by hand, just with a needle. And then I saw that machine and decided to give it a try. So this machine is awesome. And I'm gonna make, so because I love it so much, I'm gonna make for you guys a few tutorials of tops, shirts, and I want to make a skirt, and I saw a few shorts as well. But I'll be doing that during this year. And so that's the reason why I changed a bit just from swimwear, because I have a lot of swimwear bikinis like you guys saw on my channel, and I wanted to make something different. So I'm making these tops this month, and as well because here I can get my hands into different yarn. So I'll be making tops here in Australia, because soon we'll be going to Indonesia again, as because I used to live there for a while, so we are coming back there. And in Indonesia they don't have different material like this. They don't have different yarn. They have sort of like just cotton and really bad wool. So because here in Australia I have access to many types of yarn, I'll be making a few tops with this beautiful thing here. Okay, so the beauty of that is that I can make a top in 1.5 to 2 hours, easy. So this tops like less than an hour and you can make it. And so the yarn that you can use, I realized after trying a lot of yarn, because I tried a lot of yarn as well, that the good yarn for this machine is when it says, as you can see here, the needle size is, for this one, is 4. And for this one, I think it's 6. So 6.5 millimeters. So you can still use the yarns where it says 6.5 millimeters needles, and it worked really well with this one. And that's another acrylic yarn, which is good. So anything that says needle size 4, from 4 to 6.5 is good. And I tried as well with a yarn that was saying 8 millimeters needles, and it was way too thick, so it doesn't work for 7, 8 and up. They're too bulky, and the needles, they don't really have space enough in between them to use this bulky yarn. So let's start now this top. It only takes 100 grams velvet roll of yarn, and you can use this hook or this hook, 5 millimeters, 6 millimeters, anything's good. And the Sentro Machine on the tubular mode but I'll be explaining later for you guys. So let's start it right now. So to start making this top, we are going to put this machine on the panel position, because we're gonna work as a panel, not tubular like the other one. And then we're going to place this yarn here in the middle, and then we're gonna count 3 hooks from the white one. So first one, second. In this third one, we're gonna start casting the stitches. So you're just gonna place this leaf tail like that to the other side, and then wave them, making, so you're gonna put through one and not the second one, and then the third one, not the fourth. So one to the front and one to the back, all the way. Until you reach around 40 stitches. And I'm using the same number of stitches for all the sizes. The only difference is gonna be the how many rows we are going to make. So here I'm gonna stop on the 45th one, and then I'm going to put underneath here, inside this little space for the yarn, and inside the third one here. I don't know if you can see, because this yarn is kind of bulky. Okay, and then I made also a ball of it as well, because it's just easier for the machine to work. And then now we're going to start our way back. And in this first row, just observe if it's working, if it's pulling all the yarn in every single stitch. This yarn can be worked with this machine, but and there's some knots sometimes, so yeah, be aware of that. And the only thing is that sometimes you have to see, got stuck in there because there was a knot. So when there's knots, we have to do it by hand. So now we missed one here. Here you go. You should go now. That's it. So just make sure all the stitches, every single hook is grabbing the yarn. And you should work a few rows like that, very slow, just to make sure all the stitches are getting, all the hooks are getting the yarn. And here to the last one, we're gonna go all the way until this yarn it's underneath this part here. And then we're gonna give it some tension and start working on the other side. So pull it a bit, and see, it started perfectly here. And then that's gonna be our third row. So pay attention on the number of the rows, because we're gonna be making around 10 rows. And also pay attention, because this yarn has all this velvet thing. Sometimes it doesn't go through the hooks really well. So just make sure. What has to happen is the yarn has to be like stitching right underneath. The stitch before has to be right on the bottom here for the stitch to work. Otherwise you just have to help a bit and pull it down. It happens sometimes, not always, but you have to be aware that if it does happen, you're gonna lose a stitch. So just keep watching it and making it slow while you're making the first few rows. And we are going to make, see here, the stitch didn't go down, so you just pull it down and you should be okay. Then make here all the way until the yarn it's down this way, on this position here, and then put some tension and start making the next row. You only need to apply some tension on the beginning. So I'll be making 10 rows here, and then I'll come back to explain the rest of it. So after you made 10 to 12 rows, which is what I have here, you can count each little knot on the side is 2 rows, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and then I started decreasing, so already decreased a few stitches because that's the first time I'm decreasing stitches, and I wanted to make sure I knew what I was doing before I teach you, before I showed you how I decrease stitches. So we're gonna decrease on both sides because we want that V shape that this top has. And so to do that, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get right at the end of one of the row, and we're gonna remove the yarn from the yarn holder here, and then we're gonna start making the row. So we're gonna go to this, I'm gonna crank it to the second stitch, and then we'll have to remove 3 stitches from here because we don't wanna make the first one. The first one are gonna still be the last one, but the 2 next stitches we are going to put them in the same hook. So you have to take them out of here, and then crinkle it a little bit more until that next one it's outside as well, and then you remove the 3 of them. So I removed here the 3 of them, and what I'm gonna do now, I'm going to take this one out of here. I'm going to put the second one in that same hook, the next hook, and then the third one on top of the second. So that hook will have 2 stitches. So we make 2 stitches together, and then we will be decreasing 1, and then put that one back there underneath here and inside the yarn holder there, and make sure these ones are down under. So we're gonna start cranking back. Make sure you pull them all the way down here so they don't, so it doesn't keep, and then you can crank one more. Put it back here, and we're gonna crank all the way to the other side, and then I'm going to decrease here as well. Okay, so go all the way there, and then on the way back we're going to again remove this yarn from here and crank it to the second one, and then we're gonna start removing them again. So we're gonna remove the 3 last stitches. 1 with this hook. I'm using a crochet hook, so I thought it was easier. And then crank a little more until that one's made as well. Pull it off. So you have the 3 here, okay? Make sure this one doesn't come off. And then take this one out of there, put the second one through. Put the third one right on top of it. Like, it gets easier when you made a few times. Don't worry, it looks a bit funny, but that's how it is. So underneath here and inside the holder. And then we can start the next row. Make sure these guys are down all the way on the base there of the hook. And then you can crank it again. So on the description below, I'm going to put how many times I decreased and in which rows I did, so you guys know, because I'm showing you just these 2 times. I reckon I have the 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. And see how we have already that shape we wanted on both sides. So to remove the stitches, I ended up making around 18 rows. Okay, to remove the stitches, all you do is remove the yarn from there, and then we're gonna make a full row of without the thread, without the yarn. So just all the way to the end. And then I'll make my way back. So what I'll do here, another color yarn, and I'm gonna drop this here because I'll be using this one to crochet around it. So all you need is, like, from here, so we measure it from here to here. That's all the amount of yarn you need, so you can actually cut here. Probably need much less than that, but... And then you made your way back here without the yarn, so you left the yarns here on the other side. And from now on, we're going to start our way back. So she should drop the stitches. So I'm gonna just remove them from the hooks. It should come off. The second one already did, so make sure you don't lose it. Here it is. Because this yarn is so soft, it doesn't, you know, it comes out really easy from the hooks. So here, put your finger on the next one just in case. I'm gonna do that. So this is the way you cast it off, and we'll be removing this yarn later on. that's what it looks like right now. As you can see, it's pretty stretched. So what you do is you go around the entire piece and you do like this, and you basically shape the way you want it to be, because that's how it comes out from the machine. Okay, this yarn here we're gonna be removing. As you can see, you can slide it through the stitches, and we're gonna, so we left this yarn here because we're gonna be using the hook now to crochet all around the entire piece. Where I finished here with this yarn, and that's why I left it that's why I didn't cut and I use another one, because I'm going to crochet to finish this row better. So we're going to put the hook through this each loop of each stitch and single crochet. Put the hook through. If it's too tight, sometimes too tight, just pull it a bit. Single crochet. Make sure you don't single crochet on top of that white yarn, because we want to remove it after. So see, here is a bit too tight. You pull it a bit and then make your single crochet. Here again. So try to put the hook through here. Single crochet. So we are going to single crochet all around this piece in each stitch. So each stitch is one single crochet. And make sure you make it on the last stitch so you don't lose it. See here, it's even hard to see the stitch. So you pull this like this, and now you can see it. So put the hook through any way you can. Just make sure it's the last one and not the one before. So here, see, it's hidden in there. Don't know how hard it is to do with this, yeah, to look through with this yarn, but the last loop here, that's the one you have to get. So I'll be doing that all the way to the end, and then I'm going to be doing that on the sides and underneath. So I'll do that same thing all the way here, and then I'll pull it off, and then I'm going to do one side, the bottom, and the other side, and then we are going to make the strings after that. So I got here to my last stitch, and here put the tension you want and for the size you want. I really think this is a medium, so to make a small, probably start with less stitches. And now I'm going to just remove this because I don't need that anymore. Went all the way to the first stitch, so I can remove this here, and it's all done nicely. And so here I can even make the neck. I'm going to make one more row around the entire piece. So here what you do is you put the hook through, there's a little knot here, and that's where we're gonna make our stitches. Here. So one stitch to every row. You can feel there is a knot at the end of every row. Here it is. Because we don't want this to stretch too much and get too big, so, and this last row is gonna be what's gonna hold the entire piece together. Otherwise, as you can see, just opens too much, just because of the way the knitting machine makes the knitting. So as you can see, it's a bit more tight, so it's not gonna be that open, and it's gonna fit nicely. So I'm going to do all the way around, and when I get here we're gonna make the neckties. So that's what I have now. And then from this first corner here, which is the beginning where I started, I'm going to make chains. So just yarn over and chain, yarn over and chain, yarn over and chain. So make the size you want it to be. And we're going to make a few stitches here as well, just to make a place to put this string through. So make it as long as, I would probably do around 150 of these chains. So don't forget to count, or make it as long as you can cross on the back and pull it through the other side. I think around 150, maybe 200, just to make sure. If you want to cross it twice, make it longer, you know, because then we can make 2 little holes on the side here, so you know, fits well. Or you can even make 2 other strings here if you don't want to make it crossed on the back. So I'll just make 2 of these, one each side, one here and one here, and then I'm gonna show you how I made this string hole here on the side. At the end, just cut your yarn and finish it off. So I think this is long enough. And then now here, I'm just gonna show you how to make, I could actually use this on this side. On this side, I'm going to start again. So make a slip stitch on the beginning, and that's how I do it. Just cross it here, yarn over, pull it through. And then right here, in just a few stitches before the end, we are going to make our string hole. So put the hook through the stitch, pull it, make a slip stitch, and then make 1, 2, 3, around 4 chains, and make another single crochet right on the corner there. And now, just to make it more stronger, I'm going to turn my work and I'm going to go underneath these chains here, pull the yarn and make single crochets, just to make sure this is not gonna be too thin, because there'll be a lot of stress on this part here. So on that first one where you started, you just make a slip stitch with another chain to finish, and then you can cut your yarn here too. And then the way I finish this, because it's so hard to see anyway, I just make a knot. Then I'm going to make another one here on this side and another one of this, so this is gonna come here, and then you can tie it on the other side. So I'm gonna finish it and then show you the end result. There you go, girls, there's our Pinterest inspired on a Hope top, which I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I really like doing that, and I'll be doing a lot more tutorials on the Sentro knitting machine, because I've been making jumpers and everything else, and it's so nice and so easy and fast. So I'll be making a few more of them, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Leave me a comment if you make it, and let me know what you think about it too. I would love to know. See ya. Have a great week.